Stressing again that this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm going to tell you what I would do were I in your state.
Yes.
In your stage.
Yeah. So starting off with my income, right?
All right. First is to establish what is your income.
Yeah.
Meaning, what income can you count on? Not how much did you make this month, and maybe next month you'll make more or less because of the way you work. I want to know what is your income for the year expected to be. And that's what we're going to work off of as a set of figures. So not what's the most money you've made in any one month times 12, not the least money you've made but what do you believe is your income for the year? Standard 1099 or W-2 income, know what it's going to be. And that's much easier to calculate.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
Like no clue, because it can be as low as like 60,000 or as high as 1 million.
Okay, then you're going to have to deal with it on on the previous month. We're going to deal with it on as though whatever the previous month is. That's what I'm going to deal with the talk about here.
Well, is it after expenses or before expenses?
It's before expenses.
Okay.
Okay. Rule number 1: pay yourself first.
Okay.
I have many times gone substantially into credit card debt, which is expensive, so that I could invest in the long-term stable things. And my wife would get very upset about that until it turned out I was paying 17% interest on the credit card debt and making 24% on the investment.
I have fallen victim to that.
So there's nothing wrong with doing that if you know what you're doing, but be careful. Yes. Credit card debt is otherwise evil. So
step 1, eliminate all credit card debt.
Step 1, eliminate all credit card debt unless there's a very specific targeted reason why you have it.
And what about if it's a 0% interest rate card?
There's no such thing.
Well, I have one for 18 months, 0%.
Well, there's nothing wrong with then living at somebody else's expense for 18 months. Be sure to get out at the end of that, because often they collect backwards if you don't pay it all off at that point. So be very careful of those longer term things. I've played that game successfully, but you don't want to be careful. All right, so determine what your income is. Of that income, you're going to take 20% of the previous month's money that you got. You're going to take 20% of that money and you're going to invest it in something stable. So half of that will be in something like, I would say
and I can invest 30% a month.
You can invest 30%, and then let's do that. You're going to take 15% a month. No, I'd say take 20. You're going to take 20% a month, and you're going to put it in SPY and QQQ. Standard & Poor's Index and QQQ equal. That's the broad market index. You're taking advantage of the general American economy, which is healthy and growing and likely to do reasonably well. You're going to take, so that's 20% of your income. You've got another 10%, and that 10% is going to be broken into two pieces. It's going to be 8% of, let's call it long-term investments that take advantage of current trends. So Tesla takes advantage of the fact that Musk is very well connected to Trump. Google, Amazon, Meta, all take advantage of the fact that AI and Palantir and NVIDIA are taking advantage of the fact that the AI is very hot right now, making tremendous progress in beginning to prove its value for the first time in ever. So that's what that other 8% is going for. Now you've got 2% you get to play with. Play with from an investment perspective. Always aiming at making money, not in doing something because it's cool. But if you want to invest in meme coins, go right ahead. But remember, it's speculative, and so on. Now, at your age, I'm making these suggestions. Later, you're going to add gold and other things that are sort of anti-inflationary, but not right now. That's for later. Mm-hmm. I always keep 10% of my money in gold.
Yeah.
And either in hard gold or in more likely in GLD, which is ETF. So those are going to be your main things. You're then going to take whatever you need left that you need to live on.
So I need about another 20% for contributing back into the companies.
Yes. So I was going to say first do it the other way around. You still have to take what you need to live on, Take that out, and then the rest is going into your companies.
Okay. Do you think that's a mistake I always make? Is I always invest first, put into the companies first, then take what I need to live on?
No,
Okay.
I do that too, sometimes to the effect of accruing debt to do it. But because I know what I'm doing.
Okay. Another thing is I need to take 10% out towards something and then another 10% out towards taxes.
That's correct. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about post-tax income. You have to pay the taxes.
Yeah. So I would take 10%.
If you're in the 10% bracket, I'd be
Taxes.
surprised. I would think you're probably a higher bracket than that.
Yeah. Well, write-offs.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
And that's something worth doing.
Yeah.
Having a good accountant is important, by the way, the moment you start having any passive income.
Okay, perfect. So right now, what it's looking like is 30% investment, 20% back into the companies, 10% taxes, 10% self investment, and then 30% living.
That makes very good sense to me. And you adjust this as you have to. I mean, there are extraordinary expenses, and there are times you make extraordinary money.
Yeah.
And so just keep adjusting it.
Yeah.
And if the balance doesn't work, then change it each month.
Yeah.
But
Perfect.
be slow to change.
Yeah. Well, this is a fun plan. I hope you guys stay around to see how this affects my. I'm gonna follow it because.
It's worked for me over half a century.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you guys follow along the journey. I was doing more 30% get rich overnight, 50% buy what I want, 20% do what I live, and the other 50% on credit cards. So we're not going to live like that anymore. Now we're going to actually
Lord help us.
build the foundation and stay along to the journey. Make sure to subscribe, comment down below what you need help with, and maybe we can have you on this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you all.